If you're watching this video, you're in a really unique position to not only get yourself out of debt, but to a position where you are prospering and you've got wealth created not only for you, but for your family and generations to come. This is true for anyone watching this in the Western world. If you're in a developing nation or a third world country, it gets a little bit trickier. You might have to take more risks. There might be businesses involved, but it can be done. But for anyone in the Western world, there's really no excuse. You have to do it. You have to do it for not only for yourself, but as I said, for your grandkids. Hi, my name is Opie. I talk about health, wealth, and happiness. So today's video is all about wealth creation and the phenomenon known as shirt sleeve to shirt sleeve phenomenon. It's a play on words, but let me explain this concept for you. Before I do that, let me talk about even doing it the very conservative way. So depending on your risk appetite, you might not want to take a whole bunch of risk. You might be very reserved character, and that's who you are as a person, and you don't fancy yourself changing in any way. That's fine. If you follow the advice of someone even like Dave Ramsey, who puts together what's known as the 7 baby steps, which anyone can apply. You don't have to take the risk in applying this step-by-step plan. Is very low. Let me just quickly tell you what they are. Okay, I recommend you read the book anyway, but the first step is to save $1,000. That's baby step number 1. So if you haven't got $1,000 to your name, try doing that first. And if $1,000 isn't enough to make you feel comfortable, save a little bit more, but the starting point is $1,000. Next one is known as the debt snowball. So he recommends listing all your debts from the smallest debt to the largest debt. Don't worry about the interest rate, smallest debt to the largest debt, and start paying that off. Paying off the smallest one. Make all the small repayments, the minimum repayments on all the other debts, but put as much money as you can to the smallest debt. Once that's paid off, roll the amount that you were paying for that one and tackle the next one. And then you combine these two and pay the next one. And combine those 3 and pay the next one until that debt snowballs across and you pay it off. This doesn't include your own principal home of residence at this point in time. It's just your personal debt, okay? Including car loans. Next one is finish setting up an emergency fund. Emergency fund he classifies as 3 to 6 months of expenses. Okay, so work out what your expenses are and save 3 to 6 months, whatever you feel comfortable with. Maximize your retirement investing. So he goes into a little bit more detail, and the advice that he gives is a bit specific to Americans. I'm not going to go through it here because I think at this point in time you need to sort of consult your own financial advisor, but this is retirement investment advice there. Next step is saving up for a college fund. So if you've got kids that are in school and you think, hey, I need to fund their higher education schooling, that talks about setting up a college fund. Next step is paying off a mortgage. And the final step is to live like no one else and to give like no one else. So giving as much as you can away to charitable causes that you believe in, and enjoying your life as well. So as I said, this 7 steps to 7 baby steps that he describes is a very conservative process. If you want to be a bit more aggressive, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can't go past it. Bestseller, mostly amongst real estate investors, but there is risk to it. If you don't want to go down this path, stick to that one. This one isn't actually a real estate book. It's a mindset book. It's about passive income. It's about all of these topics, how the rich think and so forth. Again, this is not for everyone, but I recommend you reading this anyway. So the phenomenon that I talked about, let me get the wording right. The wording is shirt sleeve to shirt sleeve. Okay. What this is about is there are usually 3 generations. The first generation is the creator generation. This could be you. You might be creating wealth like no one in your family has. You might be creating a nest egg that's just growing and growing and growing. You'll get to the point where your income will surpass your income from your investments will surpass your anyway expenses, the expenses that you're going to have to spend anyway on your everyday living, and then you'll be financially free. It'll get to the point where, you've got yourself built up so well to the point that your children have a good inheritance that you can pass on to them. That generation will be known as the inheritance generation. If they do a good job, they'll pass it down to their kids, your grandkids, who will unfortunately be known as the spenders. So the phenomenon of the shirt sleeve to shirt sleeve phenomenon is the creator generation, humble, they work hard, they appreciate the value of money, they grow up with nothing. So they end up, if we take the literal definition, they end up just wearing a normal shirt, not necessarily a blue collar worker, but everyday person, right? Because they don't have anything to show. The second generation, they've got a bit of wealth now because they've got mom and dad's money as well. So they might dress nice, look after themselves, so forth. They pass it on to the other generation who ends up completely spending it because they've got no value of money at all. I've seen this firsthand in my inner circle, the 3-generational thing. Firsthand, I'm witnessing it right now. So this is a true phenomenon where the first generation creates it, second generation inherits it, third generation spends it and has no clue about where the money comes from, how to manage it, how to do anything with it. It is a true phenomenon. So how do you avoid this? The way to avoid it is by implementing simple things such as trusts, which I've spoken about before. So you put your assets in trusts, so there's a bit more governance there. You educate your children as you go along this journey. You get them incorporated into your decisions. Let them manage some assets. Have dinner conversations with them. So instead of watching TV while you're having dinner, have dinner with them as a family. Discuss what's happening in your life, their life. Money often comes into the picture. Therefore, their intellect goes up in terms of how to manage this. Hopefully, these principles will be passed on to the spenders, the third generation. And this legacy of yours will be passed on because you've done the due diligence of educating your kids on financial literacy. Even if your kids go to a private school, I'm telling you, they do not learn any of this stuff at school. It's really up to you to pass on some of this knowledge. I don't know where you learned it from. Whoever you learned it from, thank them. If it's from a book, be appreciative because it doesn't come naturally to most people. It's often taught. They'll learn it from books, or if you're really lucky enough to have a good parent that'll actually pass on this wisdom to you, that's wonderful. Most of us didn't have that. We had to learn it the hard way by making mistakes, reading books, and paying our dues, so to speak. I think that's it. So the entire video was about making sure you create your wealth and then pass that wisdom on to the next generations. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next video. All the best. Bye.